Right, so last time we had started setting up our new base, and we made, honestly, pretty good progress. So we have, like, all the basic stuff. We've got building materials, we've got plates, we've got rods, we've got the 3 types of loaders, and then we've got all the various things that go into making those. So next is basically expanding this past the early game stuff and into the slightly less early game stuff. So we need to get advanced machinery parts for... Basically we need to be making the assemblers and belts and that sort of thing. Which means we need advanced machinery parts and circuit boards for most of those. We also need Thermalate sheets for those, which is fine. We'll worry about that later for the assembler Mark IIIs. But, so advanced machinery parts, if I go to components, use machinery parts, which we have, and steel, which we don't. So we go to metallurgy, need xenoferrite ignium ore blend, advanced, which is the ore, not the rubble. So we need ignium ore, and we need to process it, which shouldn't be too hard at all. So we just need to go out and find it, and make sure we actually have the resources to set up a base there. We need drone miners for this. Get a bunch of those. So we've got belts. Alright, we also need a start pad, which needs advanced machinery parts. So we're going to have to stop by the old base for those. Let's head on over. And grab some advanced machinery parts to make the start pad, and then we have solar panels, have some batteries. We could use some more power poles, probably, just like 1 or 2. Craft those, craft a couple small ones at least. And then grab whatever resources we're missing. Alright, advanced machinery parts. Give me a bunch of these. And cargo shuttle start pad. Also needs steel beams in large quantities, which we will worry about later. In the meantime, we are apparently completely out of plates and technum. So let's grab some more plates and some of the various technum products that we need, which are going to be over this way because they're relatively early. Let's just grab a couple stacks of those, a couple stacks of the rods, and a couple stacks of those. And now we can craft stuff if need be. Alright, so that should be that. We've got belts, we've got balancers, got loaders. Alright, everything should be good to go. Go on a fun mining expedition, which I guess we can put it just there. It's quite close to the base, which hopefully won't... Hopefully we'll make the shuttle trip a little faster. Alright, so we're just going to head over. and then blast our way down into the ground. I opened up the steam overlay by accident there. Alright, so the ignium patch is apparently somewhere around here. And it is at height of around 142. So down we go. Oh, I need to start up a research. Ore vein miner. Could be neat. And in the meantime, we have exposed this little patch. Now let's blast out plenty of space around it. So that should make it easier. I'm just going to throw one more there and blast out that corner a little bit. Alright, so that should be enough space. Ooh, we're low on foundations. Fortunately, the base is right there, so it's not that big of a deal. So just make this an area. Then we put in the drone miners. And let's see. These ones need to be moved back a little bit to line up well. Just do something like that. And then run that belt around there. Alright, so that's that. We need to put the output loaders in. And those as well. Alright, now we just have to get this out and then set up all the stuff up on the surface. Like the power plants and the shuttle. So let's dig out a hole, and I'm pretty sure I unlocked a mining laser at some point. Can I actually craft that? Handhelds, mining laser. I can. Alright, so let's do that. And yes, that is wonderful. Alright, I love that. That's great. Alright, so I think we need to go up a little bit just to get up onto these rocks. And then we can go out and launch from here. But first we need to grab some foundations. So let's head over here. And these ones are the building blocks. So let's just grab a bunch of those and head back. Alright, now we set up a sizable pad here. Not large enough. So let's make it even bigger. And that is large enough. So now we can place down one of these little guys. And I think we need more space over here. So we have a container. No, we don't. So we will make a logistics container Mark II. And fly it that. And bring that belt around. So now that can input into the container. And don't hit all the wrong buttons. Then we have a whole bunch of outputs there. A whole bunch of inputs there. And across they go. Alright. Ore vein mining. Large quantities of ore, it's better to look for ore veins. They're large, connected pieces of terrain that expand from the depths up to the surface. They're rare. They use a different icon. So we're going to have to use a long-range scanner for this. And then have to set up a specialized miner for it. Okay, that's fine. We will worry about that in the future. Why is this complaining? Because that somehow got in. This somehow curved that way. Alright, so now we take all that out. So this will all be set up. The next thing we need to do is get this foundation out. So let's blast another hole in the wall here for the foundation to come through. Like that, and like that. Now we just need to find some space over here. And place in some solar panels. 6, 7. 7 solar panels is probably fine. I did the math last time. I didn't do it this time. And I've gotten this all messed up. This is the chain, but we can just do something like that. And then out to a power pole. And then we also need a couple batteries. I just crafted one instead of placing it. That was a mistake. Need a little bit more space. Just slap in 3 batteries. Should be enough. Alright. And finally, we need a... what's it called? The transformer. So let's get one of these in. Just a small one should be enough. And power it on. Alright. Now we go in here, and all of these are working as well. And here comes the ignium. Cool. So now that is outputting into there. And I need to set the destination to ignium supplier. No target found, so we're just going to have to head over here and set that up. So we head over here. And you can be ignium supplier. Save. So now we head over to the ignium patch, and it should be good to go. currently don't have any research going. Let's see here. What next? Pipelines, I guess? So this would allow the scanner to find veins. Alright. Might have to do that in the future. For now, we've got this all set up. And how is the grid going? Should be fine. Yeah, this does not use nearly as much power as I'm giving it. And the question will just be if the batteries last through the night, which they probably will. Alright, so this cargo ship is filling up. And once it does, we will have ignium here on the factory. So the next step is to actually do something with that ignium. So we go over here. We have this one. And once again, we accidentally dismantled the floor. Alright, so we need our quadruple output and a box. Where is the box? There it is. This is also going to be something that I want to automate production of at some point in the future. Alright, so then that box goes in. And how did that line up? Alright, it did line up properly. Cool. So now these are for inputs. And these all run across. And so now we will be able to fill this box up with ignium. And then we can take that, and with our last remaining unloader, we can put it onto a belt. So let's grab a stack of the various types of loaders from our fancy production here. So that's Mark 1. Also need Mark 3s. So we have those. And the ignium is even shown up. And it sure is unloading relatively quickly. Alright, so now we have this. We need to get it up there. Which also means more foundations. Which I believe is this short one, probably. Can I just fill my inventory up? Alright, there we go. Inventory filled with foundations. So we just expand the floor out there. And then we have to set up that whole elevator up here. So, freight elevator Mark II. And let's have it aligned with the other ones, just for neatness. So that goes in there. Okay, so that is actually not a good place for it, because it's directly on top of our other thing. So let's just move it over there, which will be good enough. So then we dismantle those so that can actually reach. And we have a freight elevator bottom right there. Alright, and then this inputs into that. And then this outputs out here. Alright, so that's ignium onto the foundation. So now we just need to bring this up and over all of this stuff. It's going to require going up 2 levels, I believe, to get over here. Alright, so that is now over here, and at this point we need to set up the actual factory itself. So we need a whole bunch of crushers. Right? And we could use crusher mark 2s, I guess. There's no reason not to. Let's just make a whole bunch of those. And do I have those on a bar anywhere? I'm going to put those there over the boiler. Alright. So, now we just have to set up this row. So we have a box. We have a crusher. We have an input belt. We have an output belt. Alright, so then that would take like that. And this does ignium ore. And what was it? Control Q to copy it with settings. And just place probably all of these. And probably craft some more and place those as well. So how many is this? It's 80 per, so a full belt would be 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so this is going to be more than enough. Not gonna bother dismantling them, since it doesn't really hurt anything to have extras. Now we just need to set these as inputs. Like so, and outputs onto the second belt. And there. Alright, now we just need to get the ignium ore around over there. Not run out of belts in the process, which seems like we might do. Alright, so that is lined up. Then we need a slope down. And done. So there goes the ignium ore rubble, and out comes the ignium ore. So next up are going to be advanced smelters. And we're going to need to do a steel beam restock, although actually using these will partially serve as the steel beam restock. So let's expand that out. Then also get that little corner in. Alright, so we have that. Now we just need... Actually, wait, it's not advanced smelters, is it? What is this made in? The advanced blend is made in more crushers. Okay, so making those smelters was just a mistake. So let's make a bunch more crushers. And have a nice backlog of that in case it ever is necessary, which hopefully it won't be. Alright, so now we need to set up another row, so we get a box, a crusher, what is this, 2 input belts, and an output belt. So then this makes advanced ore blend, and we need to get the xenoferrite ore as well. Finished a research. Lovely. So let's unlock logistics container Mark III. Why not? It's probably too much storage for anything I'm ever going to need, but may as well have it. Alright, so this just goes around and into that. Then the xenoferrite ore, which is this one. Alright, we need to get a split off of this. And just bring it all the way over. And we're out of conveyor belts. So let's return to the old base to resupply. Anything else we need resupply of? Not hugely. And with steel setup imminent, like, we're very close to being able to just completely abandon the old base, which will be fantastic. Alright, so we're over here. I have no idea how these patches are doing. Some of them are empty, others aren't. I think I've replaced most of the ones that are empty. So we shouldn't be, like, urgently about to run out, but who knows. Let's grab a bunch of those, and let's see here. Okay, all sorts of pipeline-related things there that are new. As far as the actual things we need, we are looking fine. Although we could actually use more steel beams, which we will have in a second. Okay, we also need to head back to grab more jetpack fuel very soon. We're down under 1,000 fuel, which basically means we're about to run out. It's what? How much fuel is that? 38. 38 fuel? Yeah, that's not that much. Alright, so we head over here. And that goes the rest of the way in. So that gets 2 inputs and... oh. Slight problem. This is only a 2x2 building, which means I need to access both sides for the output. Alright, so let's tear that apart. Just have to shift this slightly. It's not, like, a major problem. I keep taking this stupid floor out. Alright. Get some of this junk out of my inventory, please. Stone, dirt, ore blend. There's just so many different random pieces of junk that just get in your inventory at all times. Alright, so instead of doing that, we're gonna have to take this apart. So this has to wrap back around like that. And then the crusher has to just go in place to pull from it. So that goes there, and the crushers go there. Then this goes back and does does that. And then we can pop in intake. So those get their intakes, and then we get the output belt, which goes over that way. And let's tell these to make the blend. And then long output. And into the box you go. Alright, now we just need to control Q and place a whole bunch of these. How many? I don't know. A good couple of them. It's 40 per, 160 xenoferrite ore per, so we only need like 4 of this. Alright, so that's fine. Yeah, this uses a lot of xenoferrite ore to make not that much steel. Stop being placed in the stupidest possible way. Like, why is that even an option for automatic placement? Drives me crazy. Alright, then these all go in. And finally, the outs. Alright, so that is a whole lot of that. And now we just need to, I believe this is just in an advanced smelter. It's funny, it can't even be made in a small smelter, even if you wanted to. Alright, so you get expanded out. And I have a whole bunch of advanced smelters, so that'll be fine. Just put in the logistics container. And the smelters. So let's just get a good number of them in. Then we take this and we loop it around this way, and then down, and in. And just these last couple. Alright. And how much is that? Hardly any. Alright, we need more. These are apparently quite slow. Alright, let's set up the output, I guess. That is important to do. So the box needs to shift up a little bit. Alright, so all of these output like that. And that one does as well. And now we can grab steel and make some more advanced smelters. So this is 15 to 30. So a full stack would be 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240, 270. And that one out, 300, 330, 360, 390. I need even more. And go with those. And what was I at? 390? 420, 450, 480, 510, 540. 570, 600, and more steel beams. Always more steel beams. Another couple of those. And I've lost track of how many, so we're just going to finish this off. And you all get inputs. This might be the largest line. Yes, it is, by a considerable margin. And we need more loaders. Let's finish off these last output belts first. Alright, just missing a couple. So let's head over here and grab 50 of those and 50 of those. Nice clean stacks, and output, output, output. How many is this? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 20 times 30 is 600. So we need 2 more. 630, 660. We are now producing as much steel as a belt can hold. And using a whole lot of xenoferrite ore in the process. Hello, Metalin 23. Yeah, we have just created a gigantic line of smelters. How many hours do you have this game? I don't know. I think it says, right? 31 so far. Alright, speaking of which, we need to do something here. So, ore scanner, I guess. Favorite game? It's close. I also play Foundry a lot. I think I like that one a little bit more, but this game is quite fun. Right, so now we're at the point where the xenoferrite ore is the limiting factor, which is fine. I don't know. I've been playing for a couple weeks now. You know, not a huge amount of time, but I vaguely know what I'm doing. So this is currently limited because the xenoferrite ore processing is slow and hilariously inefficient. This is using this full belt, which fortunately is keeping up as planned. So that should be fine. Is that all working? Yeah, okay. Looks like everything is mostly good. I also play Satisfactory, which is a very similar game, and I play a couple of games off stream as well. Alright. our steel supply is tremendous now. So then the next step is advanced machinery parts, which is just steel beams and machinery parts. So let's continue expanding this and pop down another box. Yeah, okay, we saw that one coming a mile away. Alright, so we have that, and then machinery parts are made in assemblers, right? Alright, so assembler 3s are more complicated that I can deal with. Assembler 2s are still reasonable at the moment. So we're just going to use those. Pop some of these guys in. Advanced machinery parts. So then you get a line there, you get a line there. How many of these are there? Alright, we're going to have to put a couple buildings, not like a million. Ooh. Spaceship flying overhead. That's fun. Alright, so first step, we grab the steel beams, we wrap it around and in. Next, we need to grab the machinery parts, which just sort of have a bit of a lengthy journey here. Where would be the best spot to grab them? Probably here. So let's take that out, put in that. And slope you up sort of at the last minute. Get you around over here. Slope you up again. Get you going over all that nonsense. I actually kind of want to move this back here, just so that the airspace directly next to these is relatively clear. We have space, may as well use some of it. So then this can come down over this way. And boom. Alright, so then these just get inputs and second lane inputs. And this needs to up a little bit to then get a third lane input and output. Finish that research that we were doing. Next up is, what do we need here? I don't know. CPU production, I guess. I have no idea what that's for. Seems like the sort of thing we're going to be worrying about in a very long time. Then this also gets set to advanced machinery parts. Then we copy those with settings and trace down a bunch more. And how much is this? 45 per minute. So 2 of them are 90, 4 of them are 180, 6 of them are 270, 7 of them are 315. So, I don't know. Point is, we need like 14 or 15 of these. So let's get them set up. And we need machinery parts for that. So let's head over to where the machinery parts come from. grab a stack or two. Alright, and now we just need more xenoferrite plates for crafting. Where are they? Here. Grab a couple stacks of those. Alright, so now we have that. That comes back around that way. This needs to expand out. And just place all of these in, and it'll probably be enough. If it isn't enough, it'll be close. So we run those belts along, and then that one back. Oh, I didn't copy the... So shift, right click, paste to all of these. And then we just get this all set up. So tier 1 inputs to all of you. And almost there. Alright, now tier 2 inputs. Like that. That didn't place for some reason. And then finally, tier 3 outputs. So just get these in. And done. Alright, and now we have machinery parts. Advanced this time. Steel beams production has actually filled up this box and seems to be keeping up. The ore rubble production is quite desperate though, so that's fun. The machinery parts are going along, looking like a full belt there, which is good. Alright. So now with those, we can't quite get the conveyor recipes. We need circuit boards. Also, there's something that's highlighted in this. Logistics container Mark III. Let's craft one and see what this looks like. Oh, it's big. It's a big boy. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to worry about that. Mark IIs should be plenty big enough for me. And it's kind of a miracle that this is working as well as it is. We're not running low on steel at all. Alright, so circuit boards. Circuit boards are a component. They require polymer boards, which we don't have, and electronic components, which we do. Polymer boards require liquid polymer, which is this one, which requires crude alumite. So we need to get alumite into this whole setup, which is going to require a bit of work. So we need liquid cargo shuttle pads, which requires steel beams, machinery parts, and circuit boards. You can get those from there. Get those from there. Looks like. Right, because the steel is only using half as much as machinery parts. Are the machinery parts hanging in there? That's a good question. How's this going? Just fine. Alright. Seems like everything is going well in terms of production. So, stop getting distracted. We need to head back to the hub, grab circuit boards, so that we can get our liquid shuttles. And also, speaking of Olymite, we need to grab fuel. Let's get over the cliff. I think someone in my stream last time said we should blast a hole in that mountain, and kind of agree. Seems like that would save a lot of trouble. So we're gonna head directly over to this Olymite and grab the fuel before we run out or forget again. So we are almost there. Alright, here we are. Now, where was the fuel? Been kept in here. Alright, so let's just grab 2 stacks of that. May as well upgrade that belt, I guess. I don't know, grab a third half of a stack while we're at it. And now we return. So we need to grab Mark III belts. And, well, we're doing pipe-related stuff this time. So I don't actually know how the cargo shuttle liquid works. We're gonna have to experiment and find out. Alright, so this should be somewhere around here. Get those. So, liquid start pad, liquid target. So we have those, and we need... Probably could use some more pipes. Let's do some crafting of those. We need... What was it, a pump jack or something? What was it called? Pump jack... Steam turbines, no, where is it? Those are the drone miners, you'd think it might be there. Chemical processors, incinerators. Alright, probably gonna need some of this stuff later, but for now we just need to find the pump jack. There we go. Let's just craft a couple of those. And if I remember correctly, there's Olymite just sort of everywhere. Yeah, there's one just back there that's big enough to be worth going to. Olymite patch. So let's head over there, and if this isn't enough, that if we don't have enough supplies, then we can figure that out and return and set up again. We're not too far away. Alright, so we're over here. Now this territory is quite annoying because of all these stupid rock pillars. We're going to have to take it up a fair bit into the sky. So... pump jacks. Just set up 4, I guess. How much do those even use? Alright. Pretty cheap. And how much can a pipe handle? Doesn't say. Oh, of course not. Oh, I I need foundations. I only have 80. And I don't think I need belts for this, because it's pipes, but I'm gonna grab some just to be sure. I need to grab a lot of foundations, and also I have not been buying upgrades. I've not been buying upgrades for my space station stuff. I should head over here and do that. Contact space station, R&D lab. Lightbot has another sales price boost. Station upgrades, spaceship workshop, fuel efficiency. Sure, let's do that. Apparently we're almost done. And orbital laser. Okay, I don't think I need that. I could do hull expansion. Let's do that after the fuel efficiency improvement. I think we're almost like at a pretty good place with the space station. We have lots of upgrades for it. Alright, pretty sure I have a box somewhere around here with... no, not this one. This one? Yes, this one. So let's grab a bunch of those. Destroy some junk out of my inventory so I can carry even more. The biomass or the dirt. Grab all of those. Right, with luck, that'll be enough. And I should grab belts before I forget and try to go and do something that requires belts. Can get rid of these signs. I don't need those. I don't need those 4 freight elevator ones. That should be... I don't need this construction warehouse has been sitting in my inventory for ages. I'm just going to make another one when I need it anyways. Don't need a smelter small. We've pretty much moved past those at this point. Alright, and then I have the ability to craft a bunch of stuff if I need to. So we're going to head off to the Alumite patch and hopefully get this all set up. And the goal is that unlike that Alumite patch where I basically just had it set up to technically produce some of everything, we're going to export this Alumite to the main bus via cargo shuttle and then use that to hopefully be able to produce large quantities of Alumite related things. Alright, so we need, first of all, a pillar going high up enough in the sky that all these random rock formations aren't going to bug me. That should be more than enough. So we get that in, and start pad. And of course it's nighttime while we're doing this, so we're not going to be able to get it set up until day. That's in, and we need space out this way. And we put in the solar panels. 4, 5. Just make this a little teensy bit wider. So that can go in. And then we need the batteries. So then those can go in there. And then we need power pole between them. Alright, the fuel efficiency upgrade has happened. So we're about to unlock the ability to make CPUs, which I won't be doing, but might do in the future. Alright, I don't know why I made a large transformer. It doesn't really matter. So pop that in and power it on. So at some point in the future, just a couple hours, we'll get solar power and be able to start getting all this set up. In the meantime, we need to... What did I do? I put another one right next to the first. Alright, I need to get the power down to the pump jacks. So let's do that. And bring you down. I don't know how far it can go. Alright, that's decent. And then a little bit more of that. Hey, what's up? We are currently in the process of setting up a source of Alumite for our main base. Which means getting this awkward pole of power panels down. Alright. Can we just go really far like that? How are you? I'm pretty good. Having a reasonably productive stream. Alright, now you can get down to the ground. And we need more power poles to get back over there. Alright, so then these go along. And let's see, I'm just going to put this one like right... we're just going to hook these in, I guess. Shouldn't have problems. Why did you build that there instead of hooking that up to power? Alright, there we go. How's your stream going? It is going pretty well. Pretty well. Been making good progress. Lots of buildings placed today. So we need to get this, and that, and that, and that. Yeah, okay, it's predictable enough at this point. Alright, so now we just have to hook this pipe along. And corner it up. Hit random buttons until it rotates correctly. That wire is going right there and ruining everything. Thank you. Alright, so we just have to go a little bit over this way. And then we can corner up. And then bring the pipe up. Alright, it looks like power has started. Also, I need to do another research, so let's get the modular storage tank researched. Alright, so then we just need that one to go in. So then this comes along here, and in we go. Alright, now, how does this work? Open pipe network info. Capacity is 2,900. Oh, content empty. Alright, so inputs are 6,000-ish, outputs are 8,000-ish. How quick does this fill? Let's check over here. So 10,000 is 40%, so it's going to be like 25,000. Alright, we can get another couple pump jacks in. And it should work just fine. So let's just put these in just like that. Just as a second row. And give me all of the pipes you can get. Alright, actually we could have optimized this better by having these facing in. But it's fine. So these get T intersections. And then they all link up. That one require... Okay, no, they all require 2. I just somehow didn't notice that the first time. Alright, so then this goes out here. Corners in this way. And we just need this to... Is that even a shape that it can do? Yes, there's a 6 intersection. Why would you ever not just use the 6 intersection for everything? Alright, so now we have a whole bunch of pump jacks. Alright, is this working? Oh, the new ones don't have grid connection, obviously. Alright, so let's bring that power line around here. And you mean it's... What do you mean the path is blocked? It's not, though? Alright, fine. We got it working eventually. This is horrible. But it should be enough to produce large quantities of oleumite. So I assume this is probably filled now. Yep, so we can set this destination as oleumite supplier and save it. And I put batteries in, right? Solar panels, batteries, yes, that should be just about set up. And now we head back to the base. Back to the base and get the supplier set up. Which actually, hang on, before I go and do that, I think I want a fluid tank. Yeah, I think I want a fluid tank to speed up the pumping in and out of the cargo shuttle station. So that can just be here. We make... Where are they? I'm going to ultimately need one on both sides. So we get a fluid tank. Tear all that stuff out. And we put the fluid tank in so that lines up. It's only one input and output per side. Alright, that's fine. We can still work with that. So then this goes in there. And this, which is going nowhere, goes out. Then that goes there. And this snakes around like that and in. Then that one goes directly in there. And then this one snakes around like that. And then in, and I don't even know if that's necessary, but in case it is. Alright, in case that's necessary, which I really hope it isn't, we have fast loading of our cargo shuttles. Now we head over and stop by this in the meantime to do more upgrades. It's so fun watching the ships go up and down. Alright, I've fallen into the water. I meant to turn on the jetpack just short of the water. Didn't end up working that way though. We don't need that. Yeah, let's do a hull expansion. We should have plenty of resources to do it, and it'll unlock like everything, I think. I think once we have hull expansion, we can unlock absolutely anything at the space station that we could ever want. So we're going to do that. And then we head back over here. And we fly over the mountains. See, the problem with making a tunnel through the mountains is then I would need to find the tunnel every time and approach it from a specific angle, which could be a bit annoying. I kind of like just being able to fly over however I want. It's not that slow anyways, and like the number of times we have to do this is diminishing substantially with like everything that I upgrade over here. Alright, so we need to take out that because it's the wrong type and put in the liquid version, which in order for it to be, I want this to all be lined up. I think it goes like that. Yep, all nice and lined up. Alright, let's grab more building blocks. We always need those. Fill up all the free inventory space with those. And now we... Oh, don't go in drag mode vertical. So we fill out that area. And then we pop down a tank. Around there will be good. And then we need more pipes. I'm just going to set all the pipe recipes I can, because I'm probably going to need a lot, and we're going to have to automate these soon. Getting the solid stuff all automated, so the belts is my priority, but after that, the next thing is pipe automation. Alright, so then this goes around like that again, and in. And then this goes around like that. And what's going to be something like that to get it all lined up. And then we put the straight pipes in. Alright, so that does that, and we just need to call this All-You-Might Supplier, spelled exactly correctly. And now that shuttle should be coming over here. So then we expand this out. And I assume there isn't a cargo shuttle liquids. But that's fine because pipes go straight up. So, pipes. Rotate like that. Bring you up here. And have you connect in there. So that is the one that needs to be the corner. Alright, and now we just have to take this pipe all the way over. We're going to need a pump at some point. I think that's how that works. In order to not have this over the complexity limit or whatever. Alright, let's go grab more steel beams so that we can make more pipes. And man, the jetpack in this game is so incredibly powerful. Like the Satisfactory jetpack, you have to constantly tap to keep height, and the hover pack only works when you're very close to your factory, but in this one you can just go. Alright, probably don't want to do all of that, but I can at least have that running. It'll be fine. Alright, so then this comes along and just keeps going. Alright, so we're gonna have to wait. We're gonna have to wait for the pipes to finish constructing. Might want to just automate them, but we're so close to being done with that it seems unnecessary. So yeah, all of this has caught up. The steel beams haven't quite caught up yet. And this poor ore blend is doing its absolute best. There's only so much it can do, though. Like, once this does catch up, it'll be great. Because then this will be able to run full speed. I assume if we head all the way back here... No? Yeah, it is actually making it all the way back. Just barely. Interesting. Alright. Pipe production should be far enough along now to continue going on it. So this comes over here. And now we need to get it over there. So it goes up like that. And continues going up. It doesn't need to be that high. It needs to be like this high, I think. That high would be good enough to get it over everything. So let's tear those pipes out. Put in a corner there, and a corner there, and a straight all the way along this way. Just keeps going along. I'm gonna have to do that whole pump thing, whatever that means. Alright, so that is now a very long pipe. So now we get to actually set up the resource production for all this. So we have to remind myself of what we're actually doing. So the goal is circuit boards, which require polymer boards. Polymer boards require liquid polymer, which requires olymite in a distillation column and also produces waste gas. So let's make some distillation columns, grab some more steel beams while we're at it. Actually, hang on. I actually want to just cancel that. We don't need all of those. Let's make like 5 distillation columns and a tank. So tank goes there, lined up with all that stuff. And distillation column. Let's see. The inputs and outputs on this are kind of specific, but they're also high up and shouldn't be in the way. I don't know, let's configure this to make liquid polymer. So we have nothing there. That one is the waste gas. That one is the crude, and that one is the output. Alright, so this is pretty annoying. So we need to... Where are they? We need to place these like there, because basically everything except the ones I want to be used are the ones being used. I really wish there was a way of changing which output went where. It really is quite annoying. Alright, so the crude stuff goes around there. The waste gas comes out there. And the product we want comes out the back. And how much does this do? It looks like it does quite a lot. So we're just going to have 2 of these, maybe. And alright, we need the flare stack as well. Can we just stick that in here, maybe? Where's the input that the flare stack wants? Yeah, the input that the flare stack wants is out the back, which is, again, like the most annoying possible place for it. But we can put it facing that way, maybe? Alright, so that is the output. That, and then the output we want is there and goes into that tank, and then the input comes in that side. So I think this should work. We just need to be a bit precise with the pipe movements in here. So that goes up like that, and then in there, and then we want this to be a T intersection so that we can get the waste gas from the other one. Alright, so that's hooked up. Then goes out this way-ish. And corners there. and then comes around here, and corners there. Okay, actually, no, what we would want is for this to be a corner, this to be a T intersection leading down the line. So now if we need to place a third in, we can connect it to that T intersection and it'll be fine. Alright, so that's the waste gas pipe dealt with in a relatively straightforward way. Next we have the desired output. So that goes into this tank here, which undergoes a very, very twisty journey around that way. And why can I not figure out which buttons to push? Alright, so then this needs to go down a level like that. And that can be a T intersection. And now this can just go back there. This goes down a level like that. And this is a T intersection. Alright. We need to configure that. Alright, so that's waste gas, check. That's the polymer, check. Now the last thing is just the input. So that should be straightforward. We just bring this pipe along here. And it's actually on the perfect level already. Not intentional, but very convenient. Alright, so then this goes there. Comes a T intersection. And goes there. It goes into a T intersection. And now we need to figure out that whole pumping situation. So if we just go like here, take that out, we find a pump for pipes, and it doesn't want to place it correctly, because why would it? And so we need to get that set up like there. And so that's in, and now we just need to make some power poles. And hook them up. So that hooks into that. And now, hopefully, that should work, but it says nothing is happening. So that has input. This should... So the complexity is now low enough on both sides. And you would expect that this would do something. And they are not. Batteries are looking fine, that's not the problem. So this destroys the liquid or gas at a rate of 3,000 liters per minute. So that is half of what that can manage. Alright, did I set this up wrong? Oh, I did. I did set this up wrong. these don't go in the front. That would be way too easy. They go in the side. So that is the one that needs to be the T intersection. And go in like that. And then this one does that, and then a T intersection, and in. Alright, now these should be functioning. And yeah, we do see liquid polymer. So, how does this even work? Max throughput of 36,000 liters per minute. Alright, that's too much. I think we're just going to go based off of the distillation column limit. Although we could fit a second one in. So let's pop this in. How many spaces did I leave here? 3, and I don't think they're necessary, but I'm going to continue leaving 3 spaces. And I'm vertical drag mode for some reason. Alright, so then this, set to polymer resin, set to polymer resin, and let's just make those regular pipes just for consistency. Alright, now we need to hook the rest of these things up. So these two get T intersections there, and corners there and there. And then this just connects back that way. And then these get a corner there and there, a T intersection there and there, and then they connect back. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. How did I do it here? Oh, it has to go further back. Got it. So that pipe doesn't go there. That goes there and there. And this goes there. And then that hooks up. And I think that is good. And then finally the input, which comes along here, gets a T intersection, then comes along here, gets a T intersection, and then these two get those corners, and those. Alright, so then that is almost certainly more than we can handle. How much does a pump jack produce? Because I know I have 8 pump jacks. So one pump jack is 1,800 liters per minute, and so 8 would be a lot. And these are, what, 1,500 liters per minute? So this is using like half of our olymite production, which is probably fine. do I want to max this out even more? I think probably not. I think this should realistically be enough. The waste gas is dissolving as fast as it can. We would need to put in another one of these, which wouldn't be terribly difficult, but it would be kind of annoying. Alright, so that's polymer resin, check. Next, we need casting machines to make polymer boards. So, casting machines, where are you? What does the electric arc furnace do? Is that like a better smelter or something? Let's see here. No, it probably just does something completely different. Alright, casting machine. Casting machine. Where are you? There you are. Let's craft a couple of those. And then we also need a box. Let's craft a couple of those as well. So this can just go like there, probably. We'll save the most space. The casting machines are probably going to be big. Oh yeah, the casting machines are big. So that's where the casting machine can go. And does it have to take it from an annoying spot? Teleexcite wafer. Alright. Don't know what that is. Don't care, we're making polymer boards. The input is that one for some reason. And the rate is 150 polymer for 30 boards a minute. Alright, so we should be able to just do a bunch of these. So we have 4 of these using 150 polymer resin each. And we're making, I believe, that same amount of... No, we're making thousands of liquid polymer. Okay. So we're going to need a lot of these then. We need so many casting machines. So let's get back around here. Grab a couple more stacks of those. Make a bunch of those. And I think we're just going to go with the 1 max belt of output method for these, which is going to require expanding this out significantly. So first we need to set up the output belt, which is just going to be something like that. And output. Alright, no big deal. And then we move the box to be in line with the front of the machines. And then that gets an output and an input. Alright, so we need to get around here. This is where the polymer inputs happen. So we just need a corner, probably 1 straight, and then a T intersection, and that should be it. Yeah, that should be fine. So let's put all the corners in for this first batch. And then the straights. And then the T intersections. And we're just going to have this run a little bit just to confirm that this method actually does work before we attach another 20 of these things onto it. So then this pipe comes from this. and it needs to go around this way. And also needs to be careful not to get in the way of other stuff. But something like this, and rotate you up, and then corner, and in. Alright, so we do have polymer boards coming out. And now we just bring that along that way. And now all of these get an output. And so this is 30, 60, 90, 120. So 4 of these are 120, 8 of them are 240, 16 of them are 480. Alright. Well, that's gonna take a while to make. And probably aren't going to be able to have all of the polymer resin to even do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have even more to go. They're just so enormous. We're probably gonna need to, like, this is so big, we're probably gonna need pumps in the meantime. Also, I forgot to... I apparently failed to set the recipes. How many of these is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 times 30 is 330. So this is half of what we need. Okay. This is fine. We're probably just gonna leave it like this. Although being able to have massive quantities of polymer boards would be nice. I don't even think it's necessary, really. So let's shift right mouse button to copy, and then paste to all of these. Alright, so that is in. Now we put the outputs, and we need to hook the pipes up. And we're going to need a system for this. So we need a corner to go in there. And yeah, I put them so close together to save space. But it's also making it a little tricky to line up at exactly the right thing that I want it to line up to, without another building getting in the way. Alright, that should be the hard part. Next we have the straight pipes, which just go straight out. And then we have the T intersections, which just snap there, and then we have the big old line along the side. Alright, so let's just do that, and then the rest of the way. Alright. And that is a whole lot of polymer board production. Not a full stack, but half of a belt. Half of a belt is pretty good. Like, this takes up so much space that realistically you need it, probably. And the liquid polymer is still... It's tough to say how much it's filling or emptying, but it looks it looks fine. It's not like running catastrophically low or anything. So we should have enough time to fill up that. And then, finally, we can set up an assembler for circuit boards. Alright, so this just goes there. Need to make some assemblers, which apparently involves crafting all the intermediate parts as well. So that goes there. That needs to line up with the front. And circuit boards. And we're going to need a lot of these. We need a lot of these to keep up. Fortunately, it is assemblers, and I don't have to worry about pipes. So we just have that. Then you have output, input. And you have input, long input. And then we just bring that around there. And then it's electronic components, right? I didn't hallucinate that. Yes, electronic components. Alright, so now we get over here. And thank goodness for past me thinking ahead about how we're going to get the electronic components out and leaving the space for that. Now it's easy, we just bring that belt around there. And slope it down. And in. Alright, so that is that. We're now making circuit boards, and I forgot to output them. Let's get that real quick. And with Control Q, we copy the settings. And we're just going to place a whole bunch of these. And these are 18 a minute each. So the input is 36 a minute each. So 10 of these would be 360. So we're looking at like 20-ish of these to make a full belt. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And down those two. And we are running low on parts again. So let's grab some machinery parts, which are back here. I really need to make a mall. Grab a couple stacks of those, and while we're here, may as well grab some of that, and some of that. Technum is looking fine. Alright, all of a sudden we have all the resources we need. Alright, then these last two weren't set up properly. So you make circuit boards, and you make circuit boards. And just place another couple of these. How many is this? I have no idea, but probably plenty. And probably, like, it can never hurt to have more than enough at this point. Like, absolute worst case scenario, we waste some space and some materials building the things. Alright, so now we just put all of these in. And in they go. casting machines in the background, being quite loud. Alright, then these go in. And the electronic components are the limiting factor on this, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them struggling. Alright, now we just put in the outputs. Alright, a couple more of these, and should be good to go. That's going to be plenty of circuit boards. Alright. So we have those. And here are the polymer boards going perfectly fine. Liquid polymer is also going perfectly fine. The electronic components are at least currently fine. Well, here's an empty belt. Why are you empty? You're the xenoferrite ore. And oh, the xenoferrite ore is mostly going into filling up the plate supply, which I just pulled from a lot. So that's fine. That'll balance out. Yeah, it's already half are going down that way, half are going in that way. The fact that this can't do more than a full belt, even if it wanted to, is something of a concern. It's also burning the ore as rubble as fast as it can. But yeah, it looks like already starting to balance out. And this is filling up. Yeah, so soon this will all balance out and be fine. Just a bit of a waiting period until then. And circuit boards are good. Alright, looks like everything is stabilized. Yeah, that's the nice thing. That's why I wanted to build this, so that things produce in such massive quantities, is that once you hit the point where a box is full, things stabilize very, very quickly, whereas when you produce them in lower quantities, it can take ages for things to like backfill and all that. But we fill boxes fast, and then we stop producing quickly. That's the plan. So this is almost done, just a stack and a half left. This is halfway done, at least. Boards are most of the way done, although they're not progressing much because they're all being used for circuit boards. Alright, so now we have all that. The next step is belt production. So let's see here. That requires thermalite sheets, so we're going to skip the assemblers for now and just continue cooking up assembler Mark IIs. We'll have to come by and upgrade all of these at some point, but we also probably won't because the belt will be the problem anyways. I haven't been doing a research in ages. Is the monument... Which of those researches lead to future things? Is it just... Why are these red? Oh, because I don't have Prereqs for them? Okay. So let's start doing pump jack efficiency, since we have a bunch of those. Alright, so conveyor production line is going to be complicated because we have to create all the stupid intermediate steps. So we need plates, machinery parts, electronic components, advanced machinery parts, and circuit boards. So I guess we'll probably just do these one at a time. So we have that. We have the box, which normally has to go one up in order to line up. So then this makes Mark 1 belts, which needs plates and machinery parts. So that's 2 inputs and 1 output. Howdy, hello. We are setting up a more permanent base. We have our ugly old starter base over there, and now we're trying to make sure we can produce things in reasonable quantities with this one here. Also, our ignium patch is right there. It is transporting it over there, and then mostly being used here. It's somewhat silly, but it'll make more sense once this patch runs out and we have to grab from somewhere else. Alright, so we have that. Then we need to get those resources. Plates and machinery parts. Machinery parts are right here, and plates are back here. So, let's see. If we take off there, then this should be enough space. We're just going to need to slope up and then probably just go around like this. So then these come along here. And then they go down. I don't know what button I was holding there. I don't know what I even did. But it definitely didn't do what I intended. But it's fine, we got there in the end. So those are the plates. Next up, the machinery parts can just be split off from that. Like so. And speaking of conveyor belts, we need to fly all the way back to the old base to grab a resupply. Let's go over and do that. So fly up over this mountain range. The old base is very, very messy, and at the point where it's difficult to expand production of most things because of how I designed it. So, let's see, the belts are up here. I believe it's this one. Yes. Let's grab those. Let's also grab some balancers while we're here. Starting to get just the teeniest bit low of those. And everything else looks fine or is being produced at the new base anyways, so we don't need it, the production here. So now we head back. Why did I only grab 1 stack? I should definitely grab a couple stacks while I'm here. Indecisiveness. Yeah, I need to grab just a couple stacks. I would like this to be the last time I have to resupply on belts. So let's get up to 800. That should be enough. And back over the mountain we go. Alright. Almost there. It's really quite a bit of a track. You can make escalators, right? I wonder if escalators could make that go faster. I bet they could. I should look into those at some point. But again, like, the problem is we're almost done replacing everything in that. Ooh, xenoferrite ore isn't showing up. Why not? Oh, there it is. I said that, and then moments later, the cargo shuttle landed. So that'll trickle through and be fine. Alright, what were we doing? We were over here and setting up the the machinery parts into this. So that comes around like that. And then goes down like that. Did I go too far up? I did. It's a bit hard to tell from the angle I was at. Alright, so that's that. Now that's 60 a minute, so we're going to need 11 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Alright, while we're grabbing stuff, I need to find the loaders, because we're running low. Grab 2 stacks of each, maybe. I'm trying to figure out how much of everything I should have on hand at all times. Alright, so we've got those. Now we run this down that way. And we run that one. And the return belt. So now these all get... No, don't do that. Why does it even have that as an option of a thing that it can do? I will never understand. Loaders all go in. And second loaders all go in. And then the third loaders will go out. That, and out we go. Oh, we're gonna have to set the recipes on all of those because I forgot to copy paste the version with the recipe in it. So that's V, right, left, left. So just do all of this. And step back too far and fall off. Okay, and I want this to just be like a couple stacks because we're never going to use these for anything other than the one thing. So those can get stored, and that should fill up very quickly. So next, we need some space. And a box, and an assembler. And this time we are making Mark IIs, which require electronic components, machinery parts, and Mark Is. So we grab this around. Wait, is this... Hang on. Three inputs and one output, so we actually do need to shift this over a little bit further. So it'd have to be like lined up like that. Yeah, that would work. So then we take this, and this goes along the back like that. Box goes in there, and then we have to set the recipe again. So we need machinery parts and electronic components. Machinery parts are right here, so let's pop that in. And of course it's doing the thing that it always does, where it really, really strongly wants to build it facing the wrong way. So let's have to stack that up in order to reach it, and then dismantle the one beneath. Alright, then this goes out this way, and I guess can go down and in like that. Alright, and then we have electronic components. So again, electronic components are right here. So we take those out. We have to do this again. Fortunately, it's only one tall this time. And now this needs to sneak its way out, which I don't know what it is with electronic components in particular, having to do creative things to not get trapped. Alright, so we have that. Then it slopes down and along. Then this needs to be a little bit wider because the output belt goes there. Alright, so that is that. And this is 36 per minute. Is that? Yeah, it's slower than that. So we're going to need more. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And expand that out. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and if one more assembler, may as well plop it down. I've not been actually doing math, I've just been placing enough that is probably fine. And forgetting to copy-paste the version with the recipe, because why would I ever remember? That would involve saving time later, which I would never do. Alright, so we shift right click and get all of these copy pasted. Alright, so that's that. Then we just need to attach all of the loaders. So that is going to take a while. There sure are a lot of them. Alright, then we have the second level loaders, and we put these ones in, and then we're going to have to go around the back. Right, this one is not in the right pattern, which doesn't matter, but it bugs me a little bit. Alright, so these all go in. And then I guess we can do the long-handled output while we're on this side. And then we'll have to hop around the other side for the belts. Alright, so that's that. And I think I forgot to do this. Yes. So then that gets those. And then finally we come around this side. Run this belt all the way down to the end. And start popping these in. Alright, so that is going. And done. Alright, so these are all working now, producing tier 2 belts, which is almost good enough. And then finally we need conveyor 2s, advanced machinery parts, and circuit boards to make the tier 3 belts. So first let us find building materials, because we are starting to run low on those. Grab a whole bunch of them, and then immediately place down a whole bunch. Alright, so something like that. It'll hopefully be wide enough. Alright, so this is the same 3 inputs, right? Well, it's different 3 inputs, but it has 3 inputs. So we need that to loop around. We need to craft a bunch of assemblers. And we need to put the box in like that. And the assemblers in like that. And that runs along back there. So then this is set to conveyor 3s. Which, yep, those, the advanced machinery parts and circuit boards. So circuit boards, let's get those out first. Which slopes up, hopefully it can get a, why would you go there? Go in there. Alright, so now we can take this around this way and up even further. Gosh, I do love me some spaghetti. So that now this just has to go down to ground level. It's got quite a bit of a ways to go. So we need to wrap it around there, I guess. So that's one. Next up is the advanced machinery parts, which are here. And yeah, this is a pipe area, so there's plenty of space, even just on the ground. So you can come out like that. And along this way. And then do that silly little jog in to line up. Okay, I actually really don't like that. Let's fix that by just having this ramp down one earlier. And then everything should line up nicely, I think. So that goes down there, and then in like that. Yes, and then this. Clear this out. And more of those go, and then that goes in there. And it's nice and neat. Alright. Looks like there's an electronic component issue, which we're just not going to worry about. Let's get this finished first. So Control Q, place a bunch of these. And how fast does this go? Even slower. Alright, so we just place a bunch of those. And let's get this set up. And the return belt comes back this way. Alright, so that's that. We just need to hook the belts up, and then I'm going to have to expand this in the near future because this is not enough. But it should be fine. Like the entire thing we have up till this point is running off of a single assembler. So having all of these should be fine. Alright, then we put the outputs in, and then loop around to get the belts in the other side. Also, is this? Yeah, we don't need that many of these. So yeah, we can say that these are basically just like weird, large logistics container Mark 1s. And then this gets an output and an input like that. And then we come around the side, bring that belt along, and in you go. So there's all of those. And that's that. And I think I do want a full container of these because it's the final part. It's not going to hurt anything to have. Alright, now we need to investigate the electronic components. Is it just because it's being split a bunch and going to a bunch of different places? No, it isn't keeping up. The Technum rods aren't keeping up. Right, so we have one belt of Technum rods, which are going into both of these. So that's just not fast enough, but it's also fine. Like, it's not going to break anything. It's just going to be marginally slower to fill up than we would hope. Alright, then that is filling up. This is emptying, which is a little bit worrying. Alright, we finished hull expansion, so let's go and upgrade the space station some more. We have a lot of money, so we can afford to do that. And the light bots keep getting better. The transport bots are also better now. Guess I'll upgrade those. So we could do one more station upgrade. It would require more power. So we can fix the reactor. We'll do that. Yeah, so every so often it looks like there's a bit of a gap in xenoferrite input, which is not ideal, but it's also not a very long gap. And I wonder if I can fix it by adding another one of these boxes in, or if there's just not quite enough production at the other side, or what's going on there. But it's good enough, probably. So that is all running. And so we have Mark 1, we have Mark 3 belts. Then we have to do basically the same thing. In fact, yeah, literally the same thing with these slopes and balancers. So we could get cheeky and just use these lines to save having to wrap all this stuff around again. Like, what we could do is just continue the input lines down. So that would require us knowing that the lines we have currently are sufficient, which I haven't done the math. It's what we did with the loaders, and it worked pretty well. And I really, really don't want to have to set up an entire another, what, 6 production lines? No, 9 production lines even? No, it would be 6. Yeah, it would be another 6 production lines for all of this stuff, but again, and that seems like a lot of work. So instead, we need to make the slope Mark 1 and the balancer Mark 1. actually, Slope Mark 1 are conveyor Mark 1s and machinery parts. So, if we just... those are conveyor Mark 1s, machinery parts, electronic components. So I think we could manage that. It would be a little bit weird to do. And I think probably just a bad idea. We should probably do this the right way. Like, I don't want to get stuck in another unexpandable trap like the old base and then have to make a third base. Alright, let's expand that out. And a little bit more. Probably gonna need all this space at some point. There's the inventory going, tons of space in the inventory. Alright, so actually it's probably fine, right? Like, what's the worst that could happen? It's just so much easier to do it that way. So these are the Mark 1 belts. Those are the machinery components. Okay. I think we do actually have to just, like, sort of let this chill for a bit because the electronic components are having a bit of a problem. But the circuit boards and advanced machinery parts are doing quite well, so that's good. The circuit boards are probably not helping the matter with the electronic components part. Okay. So let's get some boxes in for these. We're at least going to need new production lines for the slopes and the balancers Mark 1. So let's just get those in. And we need to pick up machinery parts and electronic components. Oh boy. So here are the electronic components, and yeah, there is no backlog of electronic components anywhere to be found. Grab a couple stacks of machinery parts. And instead of electronic components, we will grab some stacks of technograms, which should address the situation relatively well. Have to spend more time manual crafting, but that's fine. Then these go in there. And belts. How many inputs is it? 2 inputs, 1 output. Nice and simple. And how fast is it? Relatively quick. Cool. So it's machinery parts and Mark 1 belts. So let's just grab those. So pop that out. And pop that in. And bring that around and down. Line this up a little bit better. Alright, so that's the machinery parts, and the Mark 1 belts are here. So we need to, I think, expand this out like that, just to give us a little bit more space. And then this can slope up. And around like that to escape. It's a little bit close. A little bit close for comfort. And then we turn. And we go up even further to get over this. And we need to start going down now. So something like that. And then down the rest of the way there. It's a bit late to go down. I prefer to have that over to the side, but it's close enough. Alright, so then these get their 2 intakes and their output. So now we just need to expand this out a little bit. Alright, and then that goes back. And all of these get inserters and long inserters and then very long inserters. Alright, so that is Mark 1 conveyor slopes. Alright, then we need to do Mark 2 conveyor slopes, where's the boxes? Oh, I already had some. That's fine. I'm sure that has to be spaced like that. So I'm pretty sure Mark 2 conveyor slopes start being annoying with 3 inputs. Yes. So this needs to go like there, which means the box goes there. And then that cycles around that way. So this gets told it's making that. And we need machinery parts and electronic components. Oh, the poor electronic components. This, I guess that can fill up a whole box. It'll be fine. This one definitely doesn't need to, though. It can have just a couple spots there. And those all go in. And now we're running low on belts, but we have belt production here, which means it is not a problem. So let's just head into this box and grab some belts. Alright, so that's that. We need to hook all of this stuff up. That goes like that. Then these 4. I don't know why I'm doing these in the exact numbers that I'm doing them in. I should come along later and just expand all of these out as far as they'll go. But for now, let's just get all that, and then the output. And then we come around this way and fill this back. And in you all go. Alright, so we have the belts, and it's what? Machinery parts, electronic components. Alright, machinery parts get split off again. Might need to run a second belt of these even. Hard to say. It doesn't look like they're in super short supply at the moment. Alright, so now this comes along like that. And then that slopes. And machinery components in. Finally, the electronic components. Okay, machinery components are definitely starting to struggle now. That's fine. Electronic components. I'm so very sorry. It's gonna hate me for this. But you have to do it. And apparently can't do it at that exact spot. So you do it further back. Like that. So then this needs to be quite sneaky. And it can slip through there and then down and in. Alright, and we should start seeing these running. Alright, preemptively set that. That's good. Alright. So then, finally, get another box here. What's the placement? Something like that. Alright, I need to grab more xenoferrite plates. And advanced machinery parts. Actually, the advanced machinery parts are somewhere around here, right? They actually just disappear. Alright, they just go directly underneath that machine. Alright, so let's grab a couple stacks of those and then head back all the way here. Find xenoferrite plates. Oh, actually we have a bit of a xenoferrite plate problem. That's fine, I guess. Like it should even itself out soon. Are we doing everything we can for that? Okay, that belt is stopped just there. Which means we can get another one of these in. Which I'm not sure how, because I'm pretty sure I did the math on this at some point to make sure that we're doing enough. But there we go. There's a little bit more xenoferrite plate production. It looks like we can even manage more. Alright, well let's just get a couple more in then. I'm not going to complain about my production mysteriously being faster than it should be. Alright, so that is that. But it might be an output problem. It might be because this is limited by a belt. In fact, that's probably it. If the entire output can only be one belt, then no matter how many inputs we have, it'll only do so much. Also, we have this happen every so often, which is very annoying. It should be coming right back, right? Like any minute now? Yeah, okay. It really is quite quick. So that can get started up again. In the meantime, the xenoferrite might actually not be interrupted because it just has, like, internal buffers. It is interrupted a little bit. So where are all of these plates even going? A lot are going to machinery parts, and that one is stopped, so they're not going there. This one is backlogging as we speak, and it is the Mark 1 belts. Okay. So we sort of just have to let this sit for a bit and stabilize. Unfortunately, we can't get our xenoferrite plates until that happens. But like, this is filled, that is filled, this is not quite filled. So we are making progress. And once all of these things back up, like, we shouldn't face huge problems with this sort of thing. I did consider, like, each one of these having boxes that just store their supply, so that they each individually are more immune to disruption. I didn't end up doing that. Maybe I should have. But it's fine. It even looks like maybe this is coming along better. Hard to say. The plates are definitely backing up more now, so that's a plus. Not quite enough, but close. Yeah, the machinery parts almost ran out. And this is the advantage of having these boxes, is that you can delay the inevitable potentially for so long that it never happens. Alright, so that is still going. Sadly, I can't do much without xenoferrite plates. Yeah, can't do much without xenoferrite plates. We're just gonna have to wait for that. Machinery parts are also barely holding in there. Probably just problems. Technum rods are being split as much as they can. Alright, should be slowing down at this point. Like, this is almost filled. This one is... Oh, this one just never got its output. Let's just pop that in, I guess. Alright. So that should be stabilizing, and hopefully the crazy demands will slow down and we can start stockpiling plates again. You might even want like a second box for the plates, or maybe, yeah, there's not going to be enough space to squeeze in a Mark II box for the plates. But maybe put like back here or something, although I'm not sure if that would even be productive. Backlogs are filling. This is starting to fill up. You can see the first couple of machinery parts in there now, which is a very, very good sign. We're still using a bunch for various purposes, but it won't be too long. Like, it won't be too long before this stops using electronic components. Whatever these are doing. There's our Mark II belts. So we probably just built too much too fast there. Like, they all wound up having to be filling their backlogs at the same time. I do, however, want to finish this off. So, yeah, I guess we just grab some plates from the belts themselves. This is a gross way of doing this. But it'll let us craft some assemblers. And we can put those assemblers in. So then that goes around back there. And these tell them to make Mark III slopes. Alright, and we need to expand this out. And gosh, the building blocks, once I have to grab more of those, are going to contribute to this problem like crazy. But then those go in there, that one comes back. And then the inputs go in, the outputs come out. And just move around to put inputs on those two. And we don't need lots of slopes ever. Just set that down to like 4. Alright, so then we just need to attach in advanced parts and circuit boards. Is there any place I could put this split where it won't be very, very annoying? Yes, there. Alright, so circuit boards come along up here. And then start sloping. Alright, we have to slope them a little bit before the turn. Yes, like that. And then that. Alright, and finally advanced machinery parts, which are down here on the floor. I say the floor, they are technically hovering, but details. So let's make that the floor. And then this comes out this way. As long as it's very careful, it can just go like that. Alright, so that is that. And obviously this is going to absolutely ruin the electronic component situation. But once everything stabilizes, we have Mark III production of everything except for the connectors, which we will do next stream. And we are very, very nearly at the point where the old factory is entirely obsolete. So those all go in. Then we come around here, attach that one up. And these all go into there. Now we have to give these the recipe. So shift right click there, shift left click on all of these, and done. Alright, so that's that. Pretty sure the only thing the old base makes as far as building materials that the new one doesn't are Mark III balancers and Mark II assemblers. Most of these things we don't even automate. Alright, that is that. Let's see, everything seems to be going well. This is filling up pretty quickly. So yeah, next stream we're going to come back. I'll probably have spent, like, not much, but something like half an hour, just off stream, just letting it sit for a bit, which means all this should have completely recovered, and we should have a fully functional base again. So yeah, we made huge progress today. I think before this stream, we were like here. So we'd previously done all of this. Just this stream, we've done all of that. So huge progress, almost entirely automated, and at much larger rates than the old version. So yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. Tomorrow I'm going to be streaming Satisfactory and potentially ending the game. I haven't done the math, but we're just waiting on project parts to finish. So if I haven't done the math on whether that'll happen next stream or the one after, but very, very close. And then on Tuesday, which is the next time I will be streaming Foundry, we will be back here to just finish off. We have a little bit more to go. So we also need to bring thermalite sheets and mineral rocks in here for more stuff, but very, very close to having a fully functional base, and boy, it looks pretty neat. These ones over here need more assemblers on the end, but yeah. So yeah, next stream of Foundry we will be finishing off all the rebuilding, and then we can start working on new stuff again after that. Maybe new tech that we've unlocked, maybe building different types of robots. We'll have to see. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, mostly playing factory games like this one in Satisfactory. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure to stop by later. And yeah, that is about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out, and I will see you guys later. Bye.